What's up, guys? It's Charmander again. Back here tonight playing an updated Drytron list, different than the one we played on stream a couple weeks ago. Tonight we're going to be prioritizing a more consistent build with the hand trap hate. So, last time we played it, we played the Herald of Perfection build. It is arguably more powerful than the Ultimateness build because it has more search power. But in this build, you're summoning Herald of Ultimateness instead, which then allows you to not only negate any monster effect, any spell or trap activation, but it also allows you to negate special summons. So, playing what believe is an optimized list based on the TCG's availability prior to the most recent ban list, right? So, this is how the TCG would have played it, minus the one EVA. So, you would play with the 3 Herald of Arc Light, which are searchable off the EVA. They're also searchable off the Benten. It's your in archetype hand trap. Well, your in support hand trap, because everything is searchable. That's a light fairy off the Benten. You can play Benten at 3 in this game, which is what we're going to do here. So we're playing the 2 Preparation of Rites to search the Benten, which enables basically the entire deck. Then we're also, something that may be a little strange here, is playing 2 Ritual Spell. And the reason being is I think DD Crow is really strong right now because Eldritch on the ladder is an annoying deck and it's everywhere. It's also really good in the event that we run into the virtual world deck and they've got a Shen live on the field and such. We lose access to the ritual spell. So I play a second one because I think it's an insurance plan. It's also nice to see in your opening hand, and you can search it off of the Idaten, which we're also playing. I know a lot of the Drytron decks on the ladder may not be playing the Idaten. They're likely only playing the Natasha and the Benten. Well, we're going to play this a little bit more like the TCG here. So obviously, Maxx C is also a staple at 3. If it's available to play, you have to play it. So if you're looking to play this deck, understand that it may not be budget friendly. And this is also, I want to preference this as well because people have asked me on previous videos, is this a truly optimized list? In my personal opinion, it may be. But again, my playstyle may be different than someone else's playstyle, so do keep that in mind if you're considering building this. The reason I do these combo tutorials, these gameplay tutorials, is that so you guys can see the deck before you go and buy it, or before you go and invest your gems and your dust into this deck. Watch someone play it first to see if it's really something you want to build. I think Drytron is really strong, but I think it also has the potential to be hit on the first Master Duel ban list. So do keep that in mind. Drytron in the TCG and in the OCG has been slapped around quite a bit because the deck was so consistent for so long. Drytron dominated from February 2020 to now. Actually, before 2020. So Drytron has been around for a long time, and both the TCG and the OCG dominated. Konami finally said enough is enough. We're going to hit your out of archetype consistency cards. So they hit the EVA, they hit the Benten. Most recently, they also hit in the OCG, they hit the Zeus to 1, which was a follow-up play for Drytron. There's a lot that this deck got hit and neutered by, but in this, I think right now is one of the best decks. I put this up there with Virtual World, and I also put it up there with the Tri-Brigade decks. So I think this is a very competitive deck to play, but do keep in mind that I think it is a reasonable hit on the upcoming ban list whenever that may be. So, we'll talk a little bit more about this list. You can mess around with the ratios of the Drytrons, but the critical part is that you always want to be playing 3 Alpha, 3 Zeta, and I think 2 Gamma is a necessity. So these are the 3 Drytron monsters you see at the top. Alpha is a super rare. If you want to invest in this pack, what I highly recommend you do is craft 1 Alpha first because it will unlock the secret pack for Drytron. You can then put your gems into the Drytron pack. Once you get the 3 Alpha, you're good. Once you get the 2 Mu Beta Fafnir, which is the Exceed monster that you see down here in the extra deck, I think you're good. You only need 1 of the big Drytron ritual. Reason being, it comes back from the graveyard with the ritual spell. And I would invest until you have 2 of the ritual spell. Some people think you can get away with just the 1, which is totally fair. But I would pick up a second one if you can. Just to be on the safer side, you may find it's better to have the second one than to not. Especially if the deck starts getting hit. Some things you may want that second one just because it may be harder to get to. But you do have ways to search it. You have the Idaten to search it, and you also have the Zeta to search it. In desperate times, you can also Foolish Burial it off the Mu Beta Fafnir and add it back simultaneously by using its effect to target the Mu Beta Fafnir to add it back to your hand. So, What else are we playing in this deck? Well, we talked about the hand traps. We're playing the 3 Orange Light, the 3 Maxx C. I'm also playing 2 Ash Blossom because in case we draw into it, still a really powerful card. It does a lot. The 2 Called by the Grave as well because we don't want to be playing into Maxx C. So we have 5 ways realistically. We have 7 ways to realistically not play into Maxx C. We've got the 3 Orange Light, we've got the 2 Ash Blossom, we've got the 2 Called by the Grave. In a 40 card deck, your odds of seeing at least one of those is about 40%. Really high. That's why we're doing that. Now, your Diviner of the Herald, really strong card. What it's going to do is it's going to get you the ritual monster you don't have, or it's going to get you the ritual spell you don't have. And in Desperate Measures, it's also a clear. So you can normal summon it, use the effect, and you're going to always pitch the Herald of Arc Light here, which is the synchro monster you see in the extra deck, or you're going to pitch the 1 fusion monster we play, the Elder Entity Entis. Elder Entity Entis, on hitting the graveyard, will pop a card on the field, whereas the Herald of Arc Light that you see on hitting the graveyard will search you a ritual spell or a ritual monster. So it's a consistency booster. Then we're also playing some other consistency boosters. Cyber Emergency will add any light machine monster that cannot be normal summoned or set. All the Drytron monsters inherently cannot be normal summoned or set. So it's a perfect card to go in this. You can only activate it once, but if it does have the activation negated, you can then set it to your field and activate it the following turn. We're also going to be playing the Drytron Nova, reason being it special summons a Drytron from the deck, which you will then link off for Link Creepo, thus enabling you to be able to activate the Drytron effects. They can activate in field or in hand. In graveyard or in hand, like we've spoken about in previous videos. So we're going to play that at 2, because I think 3 can often be a little bit cloggy, and we're already playing a pretty large Drytron package versus some of the other decks you may see on the ladder. So that's the general gist of this deck. You want to prioritize tributing the Benten off your Drytron monsters to go +2. You're going to then summon the Drytron monster. You're going to search. Then the Benten and a new chain link will add you a fairy monster that you don't already have. Often you're going to add another Benten to just keep thinning the deck so you're always drawing cards you need in the following turns or off the Maxx C if you're resolving Maxx C. And then your end board should always be Herald of Ultimateness, the Beatrice, and likely an IP Masquerena. And we're going to try to do this combo as often as we can because that's the optimal way to play this. So that Herald of Ultimateness should have somewhere between 4 to 7 degrees of interaction, depending on what your hand looks like. You're also going to have the IP Masquerena to link off your entire board in the event that you run out of the ability to activate your hand traps or your Herald of Ultimateness. And the Beatrice will also be Foolish Barreling during your turn and your opponent's turn to get you more interactions with the Herald of Ultimateness. So we're going to get into this. And we're also going to be trying to grind to Plat 1 as season is reset. So if you guys have any comments or questions, just shoot them in the chat. I'll answer them as we go along. So we're going first. Drytron ideally always wants to go first. A lot of the decks in this format want to go first. Drytron is one of them. But you can play it going second if you have the Twin Twisters or Forbidden Droplets at your disposal. Those are 2 really good cards to play if you're going to go second. So, off the bat here, hand is not necessarily ideal, but we have a Drytron we can activate, and we have a Benten. So we have some plays. So, ideally what we're going to do is we're going to Drytron Gamma here, tributing the Benten. Gamma will special summon itself, and then in a new chain link, the Benten will trigger to add a light fairy monster from deck to hand. So we're going to add the Diviner of the Herald. Reason being, normally we would add the Benten here, but we don't have any more Drytrons. So we have to play this a little differently. Now, Beta Fafnir requires 2+ level 1 monsters. There's 2 plays we can do here. We can either normal summon the Eva to then go into the Beta Fafnir, which is the ideal play right here. There's also the Diviner play to normal summon Foolish Burial, a monster from the deck or the extra deck that is a fairy. But we're going to normal summon the Eva here. So we're going to Exceed Summon into the Beta Fafnir. Beta Fafnir on summon will Foolish Burial a Drytron card. So, Beta Fafnir effect, we're going to send Zeta. We want to get the ritual spell. So, Zeta effect. Going to tribute the Meteonis Draconids in hand. We're going to add the ritual spell. Now, you saw the extra deck popped up here. You can go into IP Masquerena, but it's too early for that, in my opinion, so we're not going to. Our hand wasn't ideal. We opened a lot of ritual monsters and only one Drytron. It wasn't the best Drytron to open. So here we're going to go ritual spell, summon the Benten from the graveyard by tributing a material from the Mubeta Fafnir. Going to send the Gamma. Now we had to use our normal summon on the Eva here, so we cannot use the Diviner this turn. But what we can do is we can add back the Meteonis Drytron. He's in the Mubeta Fafnir. What we can do here is we can set up the Benten and the Mubeta Fafnir here into an IP Masquerena. This will also trigger the Eva here, so we're going to at least get another negate. So we're going to banish the Benten from the graveyard, search the Herald of Arc Light. So what we're going to have here is we're going to have 3 degrees of interaction. Again, this hand was not ideal. So we've got Herald of Arc Light as an Omni negate for monsters. We've got the IP Masquerena, which at any point contributed, can link itself off with the Zeta to then go into Nightmare Unicorn. And we also have the Called by the Grave. Opponent didn't show anything, so he doesn't have any hand traps. So his hand likely is all gas, depending on what he's playing. I'm going to take a guess. I think it's Tri Brigade. It's probably the most popular deck on the ladder right now. If it is Tri Brigade, we're fine because we got the Herald of Arc Light. It's going to be a negate. Red Eyes. Interesting. Okay, that's fine. So he's going to be locked in now. He can't normal or special summon any other monsters this turn because we're letting this go through. Then he summons Skull. Red Eyes to summon Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon. And we're going to IP Masquerena here because he is not going to be able to summon anything else. So he's got something that's activatable here. Now we know it's not Psyframe Gamma. We know it is not It'd be Called by the Grave if it's activatable. Or it's Chalice. We're going to see here. In Unicorn, we're going to send the Ritual spell. Attempting to shuffle back the Red Eyes Black Skull Dragon. Sorry, the Archfiend Black Skull Dragon. I'm going to say that's fine. Okay. So he cannot normal summon a set because he activated the Red Eyes fusion this turn. So he's likely going to have to pass here, if not set a couple cards. End phase? Okay. Now, in our coming turn, we're going to use the normal summon on the Diviner. We're going to add a Ritual monster so then we can trigger Zeta again. So, Diviner here, normal summon effect. Going to send the Herald of Arc Light because it will search us a Ritual monster on hitting the graveyard. So, Herald of Arc Light, and add the Benten. We have the Zeta in graveyard already, so we have a live Drytron. We also have the Gamma. But I'm going to Zeta first. So, I'm going to add the Ritual spell from deck to hand. Benten and new Chain Link will activate, grabbing us another Light Fairy monster. We know our opponent doesn't have much, so what we're going to do is we're going to add another Benten here. We're going to thin the deck because we can OTK this turn, because it is turn 3. Going to activate Meteonis Drytron, targeting the Zeta here. And then we're going to use the Gamma effect, tributing the Zeta, which will then also be able to summon itself back off the Gamma. So, send the Zeta for the Gamma. Gamma, when summoned, if you have another monster in the graveyard with Drytron its name, can special summon it. So we're going to summon the Zeta. Going to make Mubeta Fafnir. On summon, move beta Fafnir will Foolish Burial a Drytron monster. So we're going to send Delta here because I want to draw a card. At this point, we don't necessarily need the alpha because we have the Benten to resolve. So what we're going to do here is we're going to Delta and Graveyard, send the Benten from our hand, special it, and because we have a ritual spell or a ritual monster in hand, we can reveal it and draw a card. So revealing the Meteonis Drytron, draw a card, drew into Delta. Sorry, another Gamma. Benten will resolve here. This will grab us the Herald of Ultimateness. So Herald of Ultimateness comes to hand. We're going to do 2 plays here. First play, we're going to summon out the Cyber Angel Benten using one of the material from our Mubeta Fafnir. We're going to make Beatrice using the Diviner and the Benten. And then we're going to use the other Meteonis Drytron here to summon out the Herald of Ultimateness. I'm going to detach the other material from the Mubeta Fafnir. Herald of Ultimateness will summon itself in defense. Reason being, we're going to have enough to push for game here, even without the Herald of Ultimateness. So we're going to activate Beatrice now, pitching the last Eva in the deck. So I'm going to send the Diviner. So we're going to get more fuel to use on the Herald of Ultimateness here. Going to banish the Diviner and the Herald of Arc Light. Going to add 2 level 2 fairy monsters with different names from the deck to the hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to add an Arc Light, we're going to add an Orange Light, and we're going to add the other Diviner. So we now have 4 interactions with the Herald of Ultimateness if our opponent has something. And we're going to link off the Nightmare Unicorn and the Zeta into an access code talker. Reason being, the Nightmare Unicorn will boost the access code talker into a 5,300 beat stick. 5,300 plus 2,500 is going to be 7,800 plus another 2,000. It's going to be 9,800 damage. It's going to be lethal if he has nothing to stop this. We know he's playing Red Eye, so he could be playing something crazy, but we have the Herald of Ultimateness to negate that. We also have the Herald of Orange Light to negate any monster effects that he may have in the battle phase here. The Mubeta Fafnir will swing first. Beatrice will swing. And then access code for the lethal. And that's the first win in the night. So we're going to jump right back in this. So for those of you who have just joined tonight, I will be posting the replay tomorrow morning on my personal YouTube, so you can watch at any time. In case you have any other questions, feel free to drop a comment on the YouTube video, and I'll be sure to answer them rather quickly. Or you can also PM me on Discord. So opening hand here is a lot of Drytron monsters and the Diviner. Pretty good hand. The only thing is we don't have anything to play against the Maxx C. So what we're going to try to do here is we're going to Alpha Thuban, sending the Idaten. He has something that's activatable here. It is Maxx C. Ay. Do we play through it? Good question. A good question indeed. We very well could play through it. Not smart to take the Maxx C challenge, but this deck also has no follow-up. So I'm going to take the risk here, and we're going to try to play through this. This is not the ideal way to play this, but he doesn't seem to have anything else. And at this point, even if he draws into the Ash Blossom, it's not going to be enough. He didn't have it there, so Zeta will trigger, grabbing us the Ritual Spell, and then the Benten will trigger, grabbing us the Herald of Ultimateness. We're going to go for the move Beta Fafnir right now. Beta Fafnir will send the Gamma. Reason being, we want to get another monster. Going to send the Alpha Thuban in hand. Special summon itself. And the Alpha Thuban. Normal summon the Diviner. Diviner effect. We will send the Arc Light. Arc Light will trigger adding a ritual monster. We have the Draconids here. So, Meteonis Drytron. Here, we are going to detach. Sorry, we're actually not going to detach. We're going to tribute the Alpha Thuban. So, no, we're going to tribute the Draconids. Summon out the Idaten. Idaten on summon will add a ritual spell card. From deck or grave to hand. We're going to add from deck to hand. There's a reason we want to do this. It's because the ritual spell engrave will come back. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the effect. We're going to target the Gamma. Add the Meteonis Drytron to hand. So what do we do now? We're going to summon Beatrice. Using the Idaten and the Diviner. Want to summon Beatrice in defense. Want to specify that. Beatrice is large. Got a lot of defense. Attack isn't bad either, but in this case, this is the better play here. So we're going to send the Eva. Eva will banish fairy monsters. So we're going to banish the Herald of Arc Light and the Idaten. We're going to add 2 fairy monsters with different names that are level 2 from the deck to hand. So we're going to add the Diviner. We're going to add another orange light. And we're going to do that during his turn as well. So before we do anything else, I want to use the Meteonis Drytron to summon the Draconid. Yes, the Draconids. So we're going to detach both material from the move Beta Fafnir. Reason being, the Draconids gives us plays during our opponent's turn as well, on top of all the levels of interaction we will have with the Herald of Ultimateness. Going to link into IP Masquerena here, using the Gamma, and then move Beta Fafnir. Then we're going to Meteonis Drytron, tributing the Alpha that's on the field to summon the Ultimateness here. Opponent seems to have something. Did he draw on Nibiru now? He did. We're going to negate. Going to pass turn. We want to toggle on because in the draw phase, we're going to activate the Beatrice. So he's going to draw for turn. Beatrice is not going to activate as he's passed priority back to us. So, does he have anything here? Got Lance. That doesn't do anything. Okay. Sure. He doesn't seem to understand how Lance works. So, Eva and a new chain link will banish fairy monsters to add level 2 fairy monsters different names. So we're going to banish the Diviner. We're going to banish the Eva that are in our graveyard. We're going to add another Herald of Orange Light and add the last Diviner in the deck. He's got Ash Blossom now. He's going to let it go through. Don't quite understand the play there. Now, we gave him a ton of cards. Realistically, he should have something. Playing heroes. He's going to activate Solid Soldier, and we're going to negate, pitching the Orange Light. He's going to negate and destroy the Solid Soldier. He gave up his normal summon. Solid Soldier will not resolve now. So, what do we still have? Well, we have the IP Masquerena. And we'll let that go through. We have the 2 negates of the Herald of Ultimateness still. And we have the Draconids to send cards on his field equal to the number of intervals of 2,000 that we banished from our graveyard. Has to be face-up cards he controls, though. So we can banish 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We can banish 10,000 damage worth of cards, or 10,000 attack worth of cards, to send 5 face-up cards he controls to the graveyard. So in the event that he could build a board, just banish it. I mean, we can banish our graveyard, send all 5 to the graveyard. So we still have a lot of degrees of interaction here. This also is a win condition in the following turn because it can attack all special summon monsters our opponent controls. He's going to blow all of his life points here, and we're going to say no. So he has to pay 4,000 for cost. He's in lethal range because we already have a 4,000 attack monster on field that our opponent cannot target with monster effects. And he scoops. He took the Maxx C challenge and he still lost. That's how strong this deck is. So we're 2-0 to start the night. Keep it going. All right, so we're going second. Don't have a lot going for us with this hand, but we can get to what we need with the Diviner and hopefully with the Gamma. So, another little thing too, the Natasha is a win condition going second. We're playing against Ancient Gears. I think we're fine. So, Natasha in Graveyard. If it was legally ritual summoned, so we have to ritual summon it first, we can banish a Cyber Angel monster from the graveyard, target one monster our opponent controls, special summon this card, and if we do take control of that monster, he's passing on just the Ancient Gear Fortress. Now, we don't want to pop this because then he can special summon an Ancient Gear monster from his hand or graveyard, so that's fine. What we're going to do is we're going to start by normal summoning Diviner here, and we're going to use the effect to send the Herald of Arc Light. He has something that's activatable here, but we have the called by if it's a hand trap. He's got the Maxx C. That's fine. We've got the called by for that. So, activate, chain, banish the Maxx C, negate its effects. So, like I said, we're going to send the Herald of Arc Light. We're going to search. Ritual spell here. No, we're going to search the Benten. Again, it's not an ideal opening, but we're going to at least get the Gamma. Being the Benten. This will grab us. A Herald of Arc Light. Now we're going to swing. Now you have to summon the Drytron monsters using their own effects and defense. Otherwise, we would have been able to swing for 2,500 here. And we're just going to pass on this. We have an Omni Negate in hand for monsters. And we have follow-up for next turn. Because we have the Gamma and we have access to the Benten. What we need to do here is draw another Drytron monster. Or we need to get a level 1 fairy monster like Eva to the hand. So then we can go into Beta Fafnir and unbrick our hand. So, draw for turn. Maxx C. Not in the worst shape either here yet. So, again, we're going to normal summon the Diviner. Do the same thing. We're going to activate its effect. Sending the Herald of Arc Light. He has something else here now. Is it another Maxx C? It is another Maxx C. Jesus. This time is different. We can get to Beatrice. So, I'm going to send the Natasha here. Keep the other Diviner in hand. Going to negate the Maxx C. So, Diviner this time is going to send the Arc Light, adding the Ritual spell, so that we can then tribute the Gamma, using the Ritual spell to summon the Benten from the graveyard. We could then have access to the Beatrice play. Beatrice, instead of sending Eva, though, will send a Drytron monster. So, we're going to summon the Benten here. The Diviner is level 6 because of its effect to send a fairy monster. It gains the level difference. So we sent to level 4. It was level 2 originally. It's going to go up to level 6. Now we can Gamma here, but we don't have to. So what we're going to do first... Should we? No, we shouldn't. We're going to Beatrice here. Summon the Beatrice in attack position this time because we want to swing for some damage. But Beatrice is going to send the Alpha here. Sending the Benten. Close the Alpha. Now during his turn, we're going to send the Eva, gaining the Omni Negate for monsters. So Beatrice is going to swing. Do about 3k here. Playing a very slow deck too, so we can control the pace of play. We're in fine shape. I want to toggle on this way in draw phase. We can get the Beatrice. So Beatrice effect in draw phase. He passed priority to us. We're going to send the Eva by detaching the Diviner. Got something activatable. So what can that be? Well, that could be Forbidden Droplet. That could be Psyframe Gamma. Or that could be Forbidden Chalice. Or as we saw in the last duel, it could be a Forbidden Lance and the guy just doesn't know how to use it. Followed by the Grave. Okay. Well, there's nothing you can really banish here. So he's banishing the Benten. Okay, that's fine. So that's fine because the Beatrice got urgent schedule. Okay, that's fine because now we're gonna chain the Maxx C. So we're gonna get a draw here. Because he's special summoning monsters simultaneously, we can only get one. So we're gonna get a draw, and we're also gonna get the Eva effect here. So Eva effect sent here. Gonna banish the Arc Light, and we're gonna banish the other Herald of Orange Light. Actually, we can only banish one, so we're just gonna add the Orange Light here. Didn't realize that we had already used the other two Diviners. I'd forgotten about that. So we just have an Omni negate for monsters in the Herald of Orange Light. Means we lose the Diviner for next turn, which means we have to draw into a ritual monster. So what is he activating? Missed that. Bullet Express Train. That's fine. That's fine. Gonna try to make a train play. So he's gonna likely summon the Ghidorah. Wow, we win. Alright, so assuming we survive this turn, which I believe we will because we have the Monster Negate in hand, and we just drew the Cyber Emergency, all of our Drytrons in the graveyard are now live. So we have follow-up for next turn, and we should have lethal because he's already taken 3,500 damage. He's got one card left in hand. What he's going to try to do here is he's likely going to try to go for, like I said, a train play. He's summoning out the Super Dreadnought Cannon Ghidorah. If he uses his effect to detach, we will chain the Herald of Orange Light, destroying it. And he's using the effect. So now we're going to chain the Herald of Orange Light. He saw us at it. I don't know why he's doing this. You know, this is just bad Yu-Gi-Oh! Here. We revealed that we had the Herald of Orange Light off of the Eva. He knows it's there. I don't know why he's deciding to do this, but, you know, this is somebody who's not reading the game state correctly. Watch these videos so that you can read the game state correctly. And I'm going to send the Herald of Orange Light here. So, this is going to resolve negating the Super Dreadnought effect and also simultaneously destroying it. He just went -1. There was no reason to do that. Going to go battle phase. He's going to realize he can't do anything because he's summoned the Ancient Gear Frame in defense. And it's going to be our turn. We also drew the Cyber Emergency. So, this will let him target a machine, add it to the hand. He's adding back the Super Dreadnought. That's fine because we win this turn. So, right off the bat, we're going to Cyber Emergency here. Grab a Drytron that we don't already have in the graveyard. So, we know we have the Alpha and we know we have the Gamma. So, we're going to add the Zeta. Got nothing. Priority pass back to us. The Zeta comes to hand. Now we're going to have the Ritual spell. So, off the bat, I want to Alpha first. Reason being, I want to get a Ritual monster in hand so that I can get more value off the Zeta. So, Alpha will summon, adding a Ritual monster, and add the Benten. And we're just going to go for lethal here. We don't need to go for the Herald of Ultimateness because we've already won. He's got one card in hand. We know it's nothing crazy. Zeta effect here. Sending the Gamma, sending the Benten, summon itself, and adding the Ritual spell simultaneously. Boom. Boom. Now Benten again in a new chain link will trigger to add a light fairy monster from deck to hand. Oh, that's right. We can't because we're under Call by the Grave. That's fine because again we still lethal. So I'm gonna Meteonis Drytron here. I'm gonna summon the Natasha. So we can link the Natasha off and get the effect off of it. So at this point we're just BMing. Natasha's going to target the Beatrice. We're going to gain 2,500 life points. Going to use the Meteonis Drytron effect in graveyard. Targeting the Zeta. Add itself back. Then we're going to use the Gamma effect. Distributing the Zeta, summoning itself, and a Drytron monster from the graveyard. Summon out the Alpha Thuban. Going to link summon into Borrelsword here because this is our another one of our lethal win conditions. Borrelsword can attack twice per turn and gain attack difference as well. So before we do anything, gonna Natasha here, banishing the Benten from the graveyard that we can no longer activate during this turn. We're gonna take the Ancient Gear Frame. So that's ours. Thank you very much. Summon Natasha in defense. Use Natasha's effect again to gain some more life points. And we are going to switch this to attack. We're going to go to the battle phase. So, Ancient Gear Frame will attack. Then Borrelsword will attack for game. So again, we're not playing the most exciting decks right now, but as you see, this deck is incredibly strong. Just easily picked apart this Ancient Gear player. He also didn't know what he was doing. You know, activated a card effect knowing that we had the Herald of Arc Light. Dumb of him to do that. So we punished him for it. All right. And we ranked up because of it. Get back into this. This again, keep the win streak alive. We're at 3-0 to start the night. Hopefully this player is playing something a little bit more competent and understands the game a little bit better than our past 3 opponents. So as you saw in game 2, just a quick recap, we took the Maxx C challenge, still put up 10 degrees of interruption with our opponent. They could not play through those 10 degrees of interruption. We won handily. They were also playing Hero. It's a rogue deck at best. So opening hand here, pretty solid. We've got the Cyber Emergency, we've got the Alpha Thuban, we've got the Diviner, the Herald. Our hand is good to go. So we want to add the Zeta here. Reason being, the Diviner will send, getting us any ritual monster that we don't already have, or it will get us the ritual spell, but now we have the assurance of being able to get whatever we want. So I'm going to Alpha Thuban here, sending the Zeta. This will grab us the Benten if it successfully summons. So it summons. We're going to add the Benten here. We're now going to Zeta. Zeta effect will tribute a Drytron monster from the field or hand, or a ritual monster from the field or hand. So we're going to tribute the Benten we just searched. Zeta simultaneously will summon itself from the hand or graveyard and add a ritual spell from deck to hand. And the Benten in a new chain link will activate to search as a light fairy monster. So we're going to add, in this moment here, the Herald of Ultimateness. So, 2 things we can do here first. We can go for the Mubeta Fafnir, which we're going to do here because the Diviner plays around and through the Nibiru. We're also not in Nibiruable range right now because this is only going to be our 3rd summon. So, Mubeta Fafnir on summon will send any Drytron card we want from the deck to the graveyard. So, I'm going to send the Delta because we're going to get a draw off this. But before we do anything else, I'm going to be doing a Drytron here to summon the Ultimateness to protect us in the event that he has a Nibiru. So we're going to detach material from the Mubeta Fafnir using its effect. Summon the Ultimateness from hand. We're going to summon it in the far right zone. This way we don't interfere with our ideal IP Masquerena play. Now, I'm going to add back the Meteonis Drytron spell by lowering the attack of the Mubeta Fafnir. And I'm going to normal summon the Diviner. Diviner will send the Herald of Arc Light or it could sell the Elder into the Entis, but we don't want to send the Entis because we gain no value out of that. So we're going to send the Herald of Arc Light to search a ritual monster or ritual spell. In this case, we're going to send a ritual. We're going to search a ritual monster. So we're going to add the Benten to hand. We don't need to search the Idaten here because we already have both ritual spells in hand. And we protect ourselves from the Nibiru because the Herald of Ultimateness. This was our 5th summon. So we're going to use Delta effect in graveyard now, sending the Benten. Delta will search, will on summon draw us a card because we have a card to reveal, either a ritual monster or ritual spell. And then in a new chain link, the Benten will grab us a light fairy monster. So Drytron reveal, add Draconids. Cool. Benten will resolve now. So we can add anything here. But what I want to add here is I want to add the Natasha, so we have another discard for the Herald of Ultimateness. So we're now going to use Meteonis Drytron again. This time we're going to send the Delta to summon back the Benten. We're going to summon out Beatrice using the Diviner and the Benten. Beatrice, during our turn right now, will send Eva from deck to graveyard to add 2 level 2 fairy monsters from deck to hand, which is more fuel for the Herald of Ultimateness. So Beatrice here, detaching the Diviner. Sending Eva. Eva will trigger. Banishing the Diviner and the Herald of Arc Light to add 2 level 2 fairy monsters with different names. So we're going to add the Orange Light and we're going to add another Diviner. So that gives us 3 interruptions with the Ultimateness so far. And we're going to get 2 more during our opponent's turn, assuming the Beatrice is successful. But we're not done yet. We still have a material left on the Mubeta Fafnir. And we still have a Benten graveyard. So what we're going to do is we're going to activate the Meteonis Drytron, sending the last material off the Mubeta Fafnir. And I'm actually, sorry, we have more interruptions. We actually have, no, we do have 3. I said that right. So we're going to Benten here. Detaching the last material from the Mubeta Fafnir, which is the Zeta. Summoning out the Benten, and we're going to make IP Masquerena here. Reason being, it gives us the ability to link this and the Beatrice off once the Beatrice is out of material to go into Nightmare Unicorn, which gives us another degree of interruption. So, IP Masquerena using the Benten and the Mubeta Fafnir. So, right now, we only have 5 degrees of interruption. We've got the Herald of Ultimateness for 3. We've got the IP Masquerena, which will link itself off, and another monster to summon out the Nightmare Unicorn to bounce. And we have the Maxx C that we hard drew. So, if we were satisfied, that would be enough. But we're going to go for 7 degrees of interaction here. Because during our opponent's turn here in the draw phase, we're going to send the Eva, like we've been doing each and every game so far, to add 2 more negates with the Herald of Ultimateness. So Eva will send here off the Beatrice. Upon hitting the graveyard again, it will banish 2 fairy monsters to add 2 level 2 or lower fairy monsters with different names. So Eva affecting graveyard, banishing the Benten and the other Eva. So now we have 7 degrees of interruption. We have potentially 5 negates with the Ultimateness. The IP Masquerena, which will send itself, and the Beatrice to link summon. Okay, so we're playing against the Adagnister deck. I'm going to send. I'm going to say he's not going to with the Herald of Ultimateness. So we're going to send the Natasha here. This is not an ideal play from the Adagnister deck. Ideally, you don't want to have to normal summon the Baru. And we won. He scooped. He didn't have anything. Like I said, it was not an ideal. So we're going to get right back into this. We have a 4-0 win streak to start tonight. Like I said, this deck is crazy. I think this deck is tier 1. If you look at the Master Duel meta website, they're saying it's not. They're saying the only tier 1 deck right now is Tri-Brigade and Virtual World. For the most part, I disagree. I think Drytron is tier 1. I think it's probably better than the Tri-Brigade deck, honestly. I think the ceiling is higher, just like the Virtual World ceiling is higher. So we're going second. Oh, he's setting 3, 4. Setting 5. We're playing against Eldritch. Guaranteed. So we don't play any back row hate. This is going to be a little bit of an issue. But we're going to try our best here. So right off the bat, we're going to Preparation of Rites. He's got something that's activatable here. Like I said, it's going to be Eldritch. No other deck just sets 5 cards and passes. Themable Jar. So we're going to have the Benten here. I'm going to start by activating the Zeta here because we want to get the ritual spell from deck to hand. You let this go through. Now, if we can, we'll try to prioritize going for access code to start picking apart this. But in this case, we're going to add the Diviner here off the Benten. Reason being the Diviner can send the Elder Entity Entis to let us play through this. So, normal summon Diviner here, activate the effect. If he doesn't have anything in response here, we get the Elder Entity Entis to pop a card. He's letting this go through. Entis will trigger on hitting the graveyard. The hell are we playing against? Does not appear to be Drytron. Or if this is Drytron, it's a really weird Drytron list. And Meteonis Drytron here. Summoning the Benten. Distributing the Zeta that's on the field. Why did we do that? Because we're going to go Beatrice here. You know, Beatrice gains some more card advantage. We're going to send the Drytron monster we don't have yet, which is the Gamma. Reason being, that will get us to what we need to pop the rest of this back row to be able to push for game. So, I'm going to tribute the Natasha. Gamma will trigger summoning the Zeta simultaneously. I go for Nightmare Phoenix here. We're going to send the Orange Light. Reason being, we have no negates. Orange Light to us right now is dead. We've already used our normal summon. It's not useful. We're going to pop this. What are we playing against? It's just a trap deck? We're going to Alpha Thuban here. Got something that's activatable. Now's a weird time to start activating cards. We're gonna add the Benten here. Reason being, we're gonna Delta and we're gonna draw another card. And we're gonna go for access code. But first we're gonna Meteonis Drytron here. So we guarantee we get the Delta effect. The Delta tribute the Benten. Delta's gonna draw, and we will search a card off the Benten. So what are we gonna search here? Gonna search the Ultimateness. Now we can use the Delta and the Nightmare Phoenix. Summon that Nightmare Unicorn to shuffle one. Then the Ultimateness, shuffle this back into the deck. Now we don't have lethal. We're actually going to come up just short of lethal, which is okay. Because again, we're in the driver's seat. We know he's got a counter trap that he cannot activate. So there's not a lot of one-card combos that I think he's playing that he realistically can go and win the following turn. We're going to banish, pop the one-stack card that he has. Sure. Playing a zombie trap deck that's not Eldritch, which is a little odd. Can't justify the reason for that. Actually, we do have lethal because I forgot we can use the Meteonis Drytron to send the Draconids. So we do have lethal. I lied. And we're going to lethal here. This is going to put us to 5-0. We know the card in his hand is dead. Boom, swing for a lot. Boom, swing for a lot. Otherwise, we're going to only leave him 200 short. But we had lethal because we had the other ritual spell in hand. And we kept the Draconids instead of sending it for the Delta. So it puts us to 5-0 on the night. The Monday night, so I'm going to keep this video a little short tonight, guys. So we're probably only going to play a few more games. But I just want to see you guys get the reps on this, all right? There's a lot this deck can do, but that primary combo makes it one of the more unbeatable decks in this format of play. Again, remember, the TCG has hurt it a lot. The OCG has hurt this deck a lot. It's borderline unplayable now in the TCG because it's lost its major access routes to more interruptions off the Herald of Ultimateness or the Herald of Perfection, because Eva is now banned in the TCG and Benten is at 1. There's a lot this deck does not have going for it IRL, but in Master Duel, it's untouched. Totally untouched. So, opening hand, it could be better, but we have plays. So, Alpha Thuban effect, going to send the Herald of Ultimateness, special summon itself. Our opponent has something activatable. If it's Maxx C or Ash, we're fine because we have the Called by the Grave. Well, we played it 2. It's a hand trap interrupter. We also have the Herald of Orange Light if we wanted to do it that way. Eva could then get us the Diviner. Probably not the ideal play here. We're going to go Alpha Thuban here, and then we're going to normal summon the Eva. Got the Ash Blossom. And we're going to call it by here. Negating the Ash Blossom also means we cannot activate it during our turn, but we don't have an Ash Blossom, so it doesn't affect us. He has something else. He's got the Maxx C here. He actually walked right into this because we have the Herald of Orange Light. So he just went -2, and we're still going to get the Diviner here. So we're actually in pretty good shape. We don't want to banish the Ultimateness, though, because we need that as a follow-up play for everything we just threw at him. So Eva's only going to banish for 1. Going to banish the Herald of Orange Light. But it's going to get us the Diviner. So we're going to add the Benten to hand here. Now, even a new chain link. Going to send the Herald of Orange. So it's going to banish the Herald of Orange Light to add the Diviner. But I'm going to go normal summon Diviner here. Diviner effect on normal summon will send a fairy monster from the deck or extra deck In this case, we want to send from the extra deck. We're going to send the Herald of Arc Light, which will then will then add a ritual spell or ritual monster from deck to hand. We are going to add the ritual spell. No, we're not going to do that. Sorry. We're going to add another Benten. And I'll explain why in a second here. So, no, actually, wait, we needed to add the ritual spell. Oh, crap, I screwed that up. We should have added the ritual spell. Here's why. We could have been 10. We could have attributed the Alpha Thuban with the ritual spell. And we would have been able to summon the Beatrice, Foolish Burial card. I misplayed. Beatrice would have gotten us some follow-up for next turn. Would have also put a Drytron in graveyard that we don't already have. I misplayed. It's on me. So instead of what we're going to do here is we're going to link Karibo. And we're going to pass. But our opponent threw 3 cards at us. They're only going to have 4. Assuming we survive, we get another turn, we should be in okay position. But we needed to send the Drytron that we didn't have. That's on me. I screwed that up. This may be chalked up as a loss. What did he do? Regeki. Ooh, he's playing Zoo. So he's going to exceed Climb, make this a really large Dryden. That's what this deck is going to do here. So he's going to probably swing for 6. He's going to swing for 16 at some point. We know that for a fact. He's going to swing for 16. And then what he's going to do is going to overlay for another Zoo monster. And it's going to be Dryden. Most likely. Dryden will then have 5 material. But it can only activate its effect once per turn. Actually went Zeus. So Zeus is going to have 5 material here. He can use Zeus twice. And we're in trouble. I'm going to activate Benten. Sorry, I'm going to activate the Alpha Thuban here. Reason being, we need to start deck thinning. The Diviner can get us to where we need to be now. So, what are we going to do? We're going to add the Benten. We're going to add the Idaten. We're not going to add the Benten here. So, we're going to search the Diviner off the Benten. If he Zeuses, we have the Herald of Arc Light to negate and destroy it. We can also protect because we have the Link Rebo. Now, if this is a Revolt, we're in trouble. I will say that right now. Which it very well could be. So, normal summon Diviner. Diviner effect. Diviner, like in previous plays, going to send the Herald of Arc Light. Chalice. That's less than ideal. Okay. Well, what does that let us do? Not much. Okay, so we're going to have to pass on this. Here's the reality. We're going to let this go through. Reason being, we want to hold the Herald of Arc Light for next turn. In case he is playing the Tri-Brigade version. If he's playing the Tri-Brigade version, he's got the Monster Reborn. So he's going to go for the Trident now. That's a guarantee. That's okay. Because if he negated the Zeus, he would have just gotten a Dryden. It would have been a little bit more problematic. But what he can do now is he can start link climbing because he can go into the Chakanine. If he plays another, it looks like he's playing pure Zeus, so he's probably able to. So here's the Chakanine. Chakanine could detach, summon the Hammer Kong in the graveyard. Or he could detach, summon the Thoroughblade. Sorry. But instead, he's going to link climb. He's probably going to make either the Dryden or another Zeus. This Zeus can activate once more. Because it has 3 material, you have to detach 2 material in order to activate the effect. So here comes the Borbo. He's overextending here. He's blowing through his extra deck. He doesn't have to do that, but he's going to try to make another big Zeus. It's fine. So here's the Dryden. We're going to take some damage here, but we're not in rough shape just yet. We're still going to get a Diviner next turn. And the benefit to that is that there's nothing he can do at this moment now to stop the Diviner unless the card in his hand is another Chalice or it is an Effect Veiler. So, draw for turn. Sick. We drew a Drytron monster. This is perfect. This is exactly what we needed. So, we're going to Alpha Thuban to bait using the Benten to get the Diviner. Maxx C. We have to respond here. So, we're going to negate the Maxx C because we don't want to draw cards. We don't want to draw into a card like Nibiru or Ash Blossom. You'd be dumb to resolve the Zeus right now. So, what's going to happen is the Alpha is going to resolve, summoning itself, adding a Ritual Monster from deck to hand. We're going to add the other Benten. Okay. Now, Benten will trigger adding the Diviner. We have the Gamma. The Gamma is the key here. We can do anything we want now because we have the Gamma. I want to make that very clear. We can do anything we want now because we have the Gamma in hand. So, we're going to add the last Diviner in the deck. Normal summon Diviner. When we normal summon the Diviner, again, it's telling us we have something activatable. We know it just to be the link tree, but that's not really that important. The normal summon Diviner, we're going to use the effect to send the Herald of Arc Light, which will grab us the Ritual Spell. That's the key part to this. Opponent's DCing because he knows he's got nothing now. We've got full combo. So now what? Well, I'm going to activate the Meteonis Drytron here and have to bait the Zeus. Or we could bait the Dryden. It's going to Dryden here. Sure. Popping the Herald. That's not the right play. That is by no means the right play for him. He should not be doing that. Should have popped the Alpha Thuban. It's really dumb of him. Because now we're going to summon the Idaten. And because we're summoning the Idaten, we're going to get the Ritual Spell back. We would have been forced to use the Gamma there. I want to grab the other one from the deck. Now we're going to bait him into the Beatrice play, because we're going to Meteonis Drytron here. Sending the Gamma from hand to summon out the Beatrice. He's going to have to Zeus here. There's no way around it. There's no way around it at this point. If he doesn't Zeus here, he's going to have to do it on the summon of the monster, because we're going to get the Beatrice. He's just letting us have this now. Guy's crazy. You can also go for the Herald of Ultimateness, which plays around the Zeus as well. The better play. So, got to the Herald of Ultimateness. We effectively win. Reason being, we still have the Gamma effect that's live. We can tribute the Idaten, but we keep the Benten in hand to stop the Zeus. He played himself. Going to summon itself in the alpha. We're then going to make the move beta Fafnir. In doing so, we're going to Foolish Burial the Draconids from the deck. Also, because we attributed the Idaten, Idaten can boost all ritual monsters we control by 1,000 attack. Pretty nice. So, Meteonis Drytron here, we're going to target the Gamma to add itself back from grave to hand. Now, summon the move beta Fafnir. And again, we're going to Foolish Burial the big Drytron ritual monster because it will allow us to swing for game. So, boom, boom. And our opponent's going to have no follow-up at this point. He's in real trouble here. So, move beta on summon. Going to Foolish Burial the Meteonis Draconids. And then we can use the Meteonis Drytron, detaching both of the material from move beta Fafnir to summon the Draconids in the graveyard. Our opponent cannot target that, so the Trident next turn is nothing, but we're going to clear the Trident anyway. And again, what he doesn't realize is that we kept the Benten in hand this entire time, so he cannot use the Zeus. And if he chooses to use the Zeus, he loses it, and he also gets destroyed because of the Herald of Ultimateness. So he backed himself into a corner by not using the Zeus before. He should have used the Zeus already, but he didn't. So in the battle phase, priority passes to him in start step. Draconids is going to swing over the Zeus first, baiting the Zeus to activate. Yup. Detach for cost. We're going to negate. Sending the Benten. Negates and destroys. Now, because a monster left the field and he has a different number of monsters, the Draconids can redeclare. So we're going to swing over the Trident. And we're going to come up just short of lethal. But it's okay because we have the Draconids interaction during our opponent's turn. So, again, we played around the Zeus and the Trident that time. You'll see it in the replay. We did so because we had access to the second ritual spell, because we played the Idaten, and we had the Herald of Ultimateness to apply the pressure, because he did not realize we had the Benten in hand. So, he's activating Tenki. Again, we can chain the Meteonis Draconids here because it's a face-up card. We banish cards in intervals of 2,000 to then send face-up cards on our opponent's field to the graveyard. Because it's being sent in response to the activation of Tenki, Tenki cannot resolve. So what we're going to do is we're going to banish in intervals of 2,000, making sure to not banish Drytron monsters because we want to be able to activate next turn in the event that we want to. But in this case, we've already won. We're so far ahead. Our opponent has literally no cards at their disposal because the Tenki is now being sent to the graveyard. And so far, we've only seen the pure Zoo cards. So, and you only ever saw one Zoo monster because we negated the Maxx C early. We stopped the Ash Blossom as well. This is GG. Now, we're not going to do anything else. We're not going to BM our opponent here. We have lethal. We're just going to make it known. We're just going to go straight to battle phase and swing with the Draconids. And that's GG. And that improves us to 6-0 on the evening. So we're really climbing up that ladder right now. We're stringing along a win streak. Rank up. We just went from gold 4 to gold 3. Okay. Goal over this week, guys, is to get to plat 1 using these decks that I show on the stream. You see everything live. We take losses, we take wins. That's how it is. Replays go up on my YouTube the next day. This way you can watch in case you missed something or if you want to see other lines of play that maybe aren't showcased while you're watching. So, 6-0 win streak tonight. You can see I have not played since the reset. Played one warm-up this morning. But since we started playing on stream, we're 6-0. So we're going to get back into this. I'm also going to review the deck one last time before I call it quits for this evening. So at the beginning of the video, you get the intro to the deck. And at the end of the video, you'll also get the intro to the deck again. If you guys like to, I can also type up a written version of the deck list and put it in the information tab on the video. Replay on YouTube so that you can find the exact cards you want in case you really like this build. So you can go build it for yourself. But again, I recommend you watch these videos first before you make any rash decision and commit to a deck, because I do think this is a deck that has the potential to be hit. So our opening hand is a little wonky here. We've got the Ritual spell, we've got the Zeta, but we don't have a ton of Drytron monsters. So what we're first going to do is we're going to Diviner here. Diviner on normal summon will send a fairy monster from deck or extra deck to the graveyard. So like we've been doing, we're going to send the Herald of Arc Light. Herald of Arc Light on hitting the graveyard will add a Ritual monster or Ritual spell card. So we're going to add the Benten here. Reason being, we can get some extra value out of it off the Zeta. So Benten to hand. We're then going to use the Zeta, searching the other Meteonis Drytron from the deck. Benten, a new Chainlink, will add a Light Fairy monster. We've already got the Ultimateness too, so we can just tribute off the Zeta, have the Ultimateness, then go into the Beatrice. Not the ideal first turn play. We already saw what was deemed the unbreakable board earlier. So this is not going to be that. Okay? But we are going to have a lot of degrees of interaction. And I'm going to walk you through this. So we activated the Zeta, searching the other Meteonis Drytron. Now in a new Chainlink, Benten will resolve, adding a Light Fairy monster from deck to hand. So what do we want to add here? Well, we don't want to add the Evo because we have access to the Beatrice. Okay? Beatrice is going to send Eva. Or we could go into Beatrice and then search the Alpha, which may be better. So we're actually going to do that. So we're going to add the Benten here. Reason being, we contribute it off with the Alpha. So before we do anything else, though, I want to protect us from the Nibiru in the event that our opponent has it. So we're going to summon the Ultimateness now. Oh, I screwed that up, actually. Why did I do that? Oh, crap. Alright, misplayed. Oh, it's getting late. Damn. Okay, I walked right into that. Why did I do that? What we should have done is we should have summoned the Benten, gone for the Beatrice. We have to walk into the Nibiru there. That's on me. So next turn, we have got follow-up. We got the Maxx C. We've got 1 degree of interruption. I think we're okay. I walked right into that. I don't know why I did that. It is getting late. I even said not to do it. I did it anyway. So, intentional misplays so you guys have a learning experience. No, I'm kidding. That's totally on me. So, let's see what our opponent is playing. Again, only 2 degrees of interruption because I made the misplay. It's getting late. It's 10:30 my time at the point of recording this. So, next turn, I want to talk through what happens here. If the Maxx C is good, which we're going to make sure it is because of the Herald of Ultimateness, playing the Assault Beast combo. Discard this, add 1 Assault mode, activate. We're going to say that's fine. Okay? Doesn't know we have the Maxx C at this moment. During our next turn, we are going to Zeta if we still have the Benten, which we likely won't, to then search. Sorry, to then tribute the Benten just to search. We don't add a Ritual spell because we have the Ritual spell already. We can only add the Ritual spell from deck to hand. We already have the other one in hand. So, Assault Sentinel. Contribute itself to special summon a card that specifically lists Assault mode activate in its text. Then you can only special summon monsters from the extra deck this turn that are synchro monsters. So, if he activates this, we chain the Maxx C. If he has a response, then we chain the Herald of Ultimateness to guarantee we draw a card. At least one. So let's see what our opponent does here. He's reading this. He sees we didn't activate anything. He's going to set a card. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. The best time to set cards, if you're going to set cards, should always be in main phase 2. Just on the premise that in the event that you clear their board during the battle phase, you don't get hit with evenly matched, and you lose a lot of your value. If you start setting cards too early, there's the potential that you could get evenly matched, and then it comes back to bite you in the ass. Okay? Now, I'm not playing evenly matched, so our opponent really has nothing to worry about, but he doesn't know that. And he's making the mistake there by doing this. Now, our Maxx C successfully went through, so we're going to get at least one draw here as he summons out the Psi Reflector. Drawn to Alpha Thuban. Perfect. We've already got the Zeta in graveyard. We got a lot going for us. On normal summon, he can add an Assault Mode activate or a card that specifically lists Assault Mode activate. I think we're still fine. I'm not really worried about this Psi Frame deck. I'm not. So he's going to have the other Assault Sentinel. He's also going to use the Psi Frame Reflector to reveal one Assault Mode activate in his hand, target one monster in the graveyard. Again, that specifically lists the Assault Mode activate. So he's essentially going to add, he's going to special summon back the Assault Beast, or he could have summoned back the Sentinel. But he's summoning back the Assault Beast. I'm going to let this go through because we want to draw another card, and we still have a negate in hand. This could also draw us into another negate. I'm not worried at this point because I know what this deck is capable of, and right now he's not beating us with what he's got. So we draw into another consistency booster. We now have access to a third Drytron monster next turn. So, again, not worried. This is level 7. Level 1. It means he has access to a level 8 synchro. What could that be? Well, it could be the Chaotic Ruler. It could be one of the many Red Dragon Archfiend cards. Could be Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, which would nuke the board, burning us for 500 for each special summon monster that it destroys. It is Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. Look at this, guys. I'm reading him like a book here. I'm going to let that go through. Reason being, I want to draw another card. Drew into another negate. Sick. Now, if he activates this, he's just giving us cards here. This is not how you take the Maxx C challenge. He should have quit while he was ahead. All he had to do was summon the Red Dragon Archfiend. That's all he had to do. Instead, he's elected to give us 4 draws this turn. He was already guaranteed to give us the 1. He didn't have to do that. So now what he's going to do, he's going to summon out the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. Now, this will be able to negate the Herald of Ultimateness. So I'm going to try to bait this. Actually, you know what? No, we're going to let that go through because we're going to draw on the card here. Reason being, we can now bait it successfully, knowing that we can also send the Herald of Arc Light. I took a risk there. So I assessed the risk of the deck. We know we play a lot of fairy monsters. So now we can play over this. He's going to clear this, though. That I don't care so much about because it's just going to get destroyed during the battle phase here. And you'll see why. When it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, he's not electing to do that. He could swing over the Diviner, grab a special summon a tuner. Instead, he's electing to clear the Herald of Ultimateness. He's not even reading his own cards. This is infuriating. What he should have done was he should have swung over the Diviner, used the effect to special summon a tuner from the graveyard in defense. Sure, negate the Diviner. What a waste. What a waste. Should have swung over the Diviner. Like I said, he would have been able to summon out the Synchron Resonator and gone into Archfiend Abyss. Sorry, Archfiend Bane, which then would have been able to summon back the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. Instead, he didn't think it very well through. So, we've got a lot going for us right now. I'm going to start by activating the Alpha Thuban. Sending the Benten. And we're going to immediately pop this card. I don't know what this card is. I don't want to deal with whatever this card is. I know he's got a couple Assault Mode Activate cards in hand, and we've got Monster Negates. So we're fine. We also have access now to every Drytron monster. So we're activating the Alpha. We've got the Zeta in Graveyard already. We can get the Gamma. We can get the Delta. So what are we going to do here? We're going to add the Draconids. Reason being, it clears the board. So Benten will trigger in a new chain link. He can respond here with the Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. He'd be dumb too because he's not necessarily negating anything. No reason for him to do that. So what are we going to add? We're going to add the Natasha. And I'll explain why. Again, the Natasha can take this. That's ours for the rest of this turn. So, right off the bat, that is exactly what we are going to do. We're going to send the Alpha Thuban, summoning the Natasha. Not going to know what hits him here. This Red Dragon Archfiend is going to be ours. It's going to chain the effect here, negating the ritual spell. He played right into our hand because now we get this back. But we're actually just going to negate this. We don't have to even summon the Natasha now. He played himself. Red Rain. Okay. Again, we're still fine. I'm not worried. Our hand was insane because he let the Maxx C go through. So we're going to get the Gamma here. Now, what does that do for us? Well, quite frankly, it does a lot. So, to start, we're going to activate the Ritual Spell. Ritual Spell is going to target the Gamma here. It's going to add itself back to our hand. We can activate it again because this doesn't negate cards with that name. It just negates that specific card's effect. We're going to summon the Link Karibo here. This way the Gamma is activatable in our graveyard. I'm going to activate Cyber Emergency here. Grabbing the Delta. It's the only one we haven't used yet, aside from the Zeta. So it's the last Drytron in the deck. Now, we're going to Zeta first. Sending the Draconids. There's a reason we're doing that. It's so that we can activate the Delta and then go into the Gamma. Delta will draw us a card here. Drew into another Zeta. Cool. Now Gamma's free. We don't have to send the Delta. We can send the Zeta from our hand. So, buy Zeta. Summon out the Gamma. Boom. We're also going to summon out the other Zeta. I'm going to move Beta Fafnir. And we're going to summon out the Draconids. And a Foolish Burial Drytron card here. Reason being, we just want the consistency. We're going to send the other Gamma. This way we have it at all times. And we're going to activate the Meteonis Drytron here. Summoning the Draconids. We're also going to be able to go into access code. So, normal summon Diviner. Diviner here is not going to do what you think it's going to do. It's going to send the Eva. Reason being, we're just going to get some more hand traps here. So, boom. Eva effect. Got nothing to lose at this point. We have full combo. Actually, not going to banish the Benten. We're going to banish the Orange Light and the Arc Light. So we can add another Diviner. So we're adding the last Diviner. We're adding the last Orange Light from deck to hand. Reason being, we can still summon out the Natasha in the event that he hits us with something. But instead, what we're going to do here is we're going to go for Boral Sword. And this will be game. And I'll explain why. So, I'm going to go battle phase here. Boral Sword is going to attack first so that it can going to gain the attack, and it's going to also lower the attack of the Abyss. Actually, it's unaffected because it has the Red Rain. That's all right. We're going to go Draconid. Draconid's going to swing directly for 4,000. Then Boral Sword will put the Draconids into defense and be able to swing again. So we lethaled him. He can't nib us at this point because we're in battle phase. It's lethal. When we proved to 7-0. Again, I misplayed. It actually didn't hurt us at all because our opponent is not playing what I deem a very competent ladder deck. You know, the Archfiend deck is cool. I wouldn't consider it meta by any standards. In Duel Links it was. He may have been a Duel Links player who saw, hey, I like these cards. I want to play this a little bit more. Power to him, but I don't think for the ladder it is a solid meta pick. But if it is one you enjoy, enjoy it. So we're 7-0 on the night playing Drytron. All right. Another game where we're going to go second. So far when we've gone second, we've actually done significantly better than going first. So, again, we play a lot of interruptions. You know, we main deck the 3 Orange Light, we main deck the 3 Maxx C, and we main deck the 2 Ash Blossom. Our opening hand has no interruptions. So, what do we do? There's a couple things we can do here. So, let's turn up the background music a little bit. I know some people complained in the past about not having that on the stream. So let me know if you can hear it. You know, I'll deal with that another night. But, so, playing against Eldritch. Let me guys know if you want the background music. I've been afraid that I will get strikes because I don't know if this is copyrighted music or not. I know sometimes if it's in a game, it's acceptable, but I don't want to risk anything new to YouTube, new to Twitch. But here we go. So he's playing against Eldritch. He's starting with the Golden Lord on field. So what can that mean? Well, that means that one of these cards is likely a Golden Land card or the Scarlet Sanguine, just based on the consistency of the deck. We saw him search the Conquistador. What does that mean? It probably means that he already has the Hakero or the Golden Land Forever. I'm not too concerned because unless he's got the skill drain, we're not in that bad a shape because we have the Diviner and we already have the Ritual spell. The crappy part, though, is that we do not have the Benten in hand yet, but we have the Drytron Nova. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to start by activating the Drytron Nova. If he has that there can only be one, or if he has the Rivalry of the Warlords, we are in a bit of trouble. He's got the Ash Blossom, but we're going to call by this. So that's fine. We're going to get the Alpha here. Assuming he has nothing to stop the called by here. If he has the Golden Land Forever, which is the counter trap, it can negate anything, then we're in a little bit of trouble. Still don't think we're in that much trouble though, because all he has is a pop, possibly a banish, and possibly a floodgate. The Golden Lord, not really that big of a threat right now because not doing anything on field, but we do know that he has the Conquistador, which is right here in the zone closest to the extra deck. We saw him search it off the Cursed Eld land. So here comes out the Alpha. Passes back to him. He's got something that's activatable. Again, it's likely the Conquistador and a possible Floodgate. So, activating the Conquistador here would actually be a big mistake from him, because the Alpha can still tribute even if it's in the graveyard. So, we're going to summon the Lyrilusc here. Playing around the Conquistador. Totally. But now we're walking right into the Hakero, which is still okay. So, let's see what he's got. If we just watch into the Hakero, he's got the Solemn Strike on the Lyrilusc. Not the right play. Not the right play, pal. What he should have done was he should have waited for us to activate the Alpha Thuban before he did that. So now Alpha Thuban will trigger, sending the Draconids. Alpha Thuban, if it's successfully summoned, so he did have the Golden Land forever, like I said. I thought he had it. Probably playing it at 2 or 3. So he's tributing the Golden Lord to negate the Alpha Thuban. We're still okay. Reason being, we have the Diviner. But what does that mean? It likely means that this middle card is a Scarlet Sanguine, because he can no longer activate the Conquistador. And if he can no longer activate the Conquistador, and this is not a Scarlet Sanguine, we win. It's a Solemn Judgment. He's throwing everything at us. Jesus. Man does not want us to play. All right. That hurt. But we haven't lost yet. The deck that we're playing against right now does not have a lot of OTK potential. He's also only going to get 1 card next turn off this. So what he's going to do here is he's going to draw for turn. He's going to curse the Eldlands, searching another Golden Land spell or trap card. So he can search another Golden Land forever, or he can search another Conquistador or Hawkero. He set a card. What he's likely going to do here is he's going to either search for the cursed Eldland. He's banishing. He's banishing with the Black Awakening. This will set a Golden Land spell or trap card from the deck, which then he will likely send off of the Golden Lord to special summon itself. So it'll add it back to the hand and then special summon itself, gaining 1,000 attack and making it indestructible. He's setting another Golden Land forever. This is interesting. So here he's searching the Eldritch or the Golden Land. He's likely going to search the Hawkero that he doesn't already have. Searching the Golden Lord. So this middle card, we still don't know what this middle card is. We know this is Conquistador. We now know that this is a Golden Land forever. He's sending the Cursed Eldland, reason being he will then be able to Foolish Burial an Eldritch monster or a Golden Land spell or trap card. So again, I'm really nervous about what this middle card is. I think it's a Floodgate. But what do we know so far? We know that we're playing through a Conquistador. We know that we're playing through a Golden Land forever. Don't know what this set card is. This card in his hand, we also know is another Eldritch. So this middle card is likely a Floodgate if it is not a Scarlet Sanguine. Cyber Emergency. Awesome. This is a card we needed. No doubt about it in my mind. So Cyber Emergency will activate. It will grab us a Drytron monster that we don't already have. I'm going to prioritize the Gamma here, because that unlocks all of our plays. So, if he Golden Land forever and negates this, this will set itself. Sorry. No, we would add this card back to our hand, and we can activate it again. Is that the summon limit? Well, we haven't summoned yet. Okay, that is fine. We're going to add the Gamma here. I'm actually going to do a little bait and switch here. I'm going to try to activate the Meteonis Drytron here. Reason being, I want to summon the Draconids. He's going to have to negate this. He's going to have to negate this. I want to make that very clear. If he doesn't, he loses. I guess he does not. He doesn't necessarily lose. I want to actually take that back, because he has the Conquistador. The Conquistador can pop the Draconids. Just letting it go through. May have been the wrong play here. We're going to see about it. He realized he can pop it. Okay. And on that, I believe we lose here. Yep. Gonna be the first loss of the night. All right. Did not open great to play through that board. Not expecting the summon limit. I get why he's playing that, though. Really strong in that deck. Deck plays a lot of floodgates. So the first loss on stream tonight. Lost to Eldritch. Want to take a look at this deck? So he's playing the 3 skill tree, and that's the right play. He's playing the proper floodgates, in my opinion, right now for the format. Summon limit is really good. Vanity's Emptiness is also crazy strong. If I were him, though, I'd probably be playing a little bit more of a varied extra deck. And I would not be playing Vampire Fraulein. I know some people are high on this card. I'm not really high on this card. Otherwise, it's a pretty standard Eldritch list. I don't recommend playing this. This is a soup for brains deck. Does not take any skill to play because you're just flipping trap cards that lock your opponent out of playing. Just a really annoying deck. So it looks like we're going to be playing second again. And guys, I'm going to call it after this. This is going to be the last match of the night. So we've got the Maxx C. Got a lot going for this hand. Okay? A hero lives. We're going to chain immediately to this. He's got Ash Blossom or Called by the Grave. We're in a bit of trouble. Already passes back to him. He's got nothing. So we're going to get at least one draw here. And he's paying half of his life points. He's already putting himself in lethal range. So summoning out the Hero Stratos, drawing into another Maxx C. Yikes. What we needed to draw into there was another Drytron monster. So Stratos on summon will add a hero monster from deck to hand. This likely means he's going to take the Maxx C challenge. He doesn't know what we're playing yet, though, so he doesn't know if he wants to summon the Dark Law, which would be the better play here if he has access to the mass change. Dark Law versus this deck hurts because it banishes anything sent to the graveyard. So, what does that mean? That means we don't get the Drytron effects in the graveyard. And we start throwing away the Bentens. So he's got the Ferris. He's taking the Maxx C challenge. Guys, I want to state this. Don't take the Maxx C challenge. We got lucky earlier in the stream. You do not want to do this. He is giving us card advantage. The end board that Hero puts up is not worth taking the Maxx C challenge for. It never has been and it never will be. In the TCG, all you're putting up is the Destiny Hero, Phoenix, Destroyer, Enforcer. It is not worth taking the Maxx C challenge. There's nothing that this end board is going to do that's going to say, we win, and here's why we just drew into the Ash Blossom. Sorry, kid. You just got clucked. That's why you don't play the Maxx C challenge. Now, he has to extend even further in order to have a play that won't leave him in lethal range, and it's just going to mean we're going to draw another card. Another card after that. We have everything we need to win next turn. Foolish Burial. Dude, you want to stop now. He's a Japanese player. He should realize these things. They play with Maxx C, whereas the TCG doesn't. So, you know. Shadow Mist on being sent to graveyard will add a hero monster from deck to hand. He's adding the Vion. He is yet to normal summon. I want to specify that because he summoned the Stratos. Off a hero lives. Vion normal summon will Foolish Burial a hero card. Hero monster. Sorry. So he's going to probably send the Malicious here. Like I said, he sent the malicious. Vion's going to banish a hero now from the graveyard to add a polymerization from deck to hand. He's banishing the Ferris to add the polymerization. So he's going to try to fusion summon this turn too. Again, he's overextending here. He should have stopped the moment he saw the Maxx C. Reason being, he put himself in lethal range. Again, there's nothing that this hero deck can put up that says that he wins during our turn. It just isn't what this hero deck does. It's not what this hero deck has access to. At this point, even a Dark Law is not enough. So, he's polying using the Stratos and Liquid Soldier. He's going to draw a card here. So, summoning out the Absolute Zero. Again, he's not doing anything for himself here, because we're going to clear this immediately with the Diviner. So, he draws 2 cards. He still has access to the Mally in the graveyard. But again, he's still under Maxx C. He should have stopped extending. There's no reason why he should continue to do this. He's pitching now the Nibiru for the Liquid Soldier effect. Oh no. He's actually digging a grave for himself. He should have kept the Nibiru. Reason being, he took the Maxx C challenge. He needs whatever follow-up he has, and he's still going. Oh my god. We're going to have our whole deck in our hand by the end of this. And there's nothing he can do to play around it. Because again, that's not what this does. So, Cross Crusader, target a Destiny Hero monster to graveyard special summon it. Gonna target the Mally. He's then gonna tribute the Mally to add a hero monster with a different name from deck to hand. He has the Fusion Destiny. So now what this is gonna do is it's gonna say he can only special summon dark hero monsters for the rest of the turn. And it's also gonna destroy the card that he summons during the next end phase. So, if it's Bane, it's going to summon the Bane. Summoning Dystopia. Not a problem. We're just drawing our hand traps at this point. The Herald of Arc Light, the Diviners. We already have the Eva as well. Yeah, we only have access to one Drytron monster through the Drytron Nova so far. But we're in really good shape. I'm going to say that Dystopia is fine. Burn for 16. I don't care. You took the Maxx C challenge. I have 10 cards in my hand. And I'm drawing into 11th regardless of whether or not you summon again or you pass turn. Sorry, I forgot we drew the Gamma for turn off the Maxx C. We actually have access to 2 Drytron cards. But we have a lot going for us again. He took the Maxx C challenge when he shouldn't. I want to stress this enough. The hero deck does not play through Maxx C. If you are playing heroes, you need to quit while you are ahead. So, the moment you get Maxx C, you just stop. Unless you play Phoenix Enforcer, which is not in the game at the moment, he should have stopped. He's now going Miracle Fusion. Again, if you see Maxx C, you're a deer in the headlights. You're just going to get hit and blown right through. Your odds of beating somebody who you're handing endless cards to is not there. It's the odds are just so low because you're giving them more card advantage than you're going to have at the end of the turn. Unless it's Drytron. Drytron can put up almost an endless negate board, as you saw earlier, but that was a fluke. He's just extending at this point for no reason. We have 2 Bentens. We have full consistency in our hand. And all he's going to be able to do is pop once with Dystopia. And if we pop the Absolute Zero, it destroys all monsters we control. So we're just going to do that immediately. The normal summon Diviner, send Entis, pop this, deal with this. Don't care about this. Really don't care about this. So, draw for turn, our 3rd Benten. We have literally all of our consistency cards in our hand. So we're going to bait the Dystopia. Or at least try to. Diviner effect. We're just going to deal with the Absolute Zero now. Actually, you know what? We don't even have to. I'm going to bait the Dystopia. Yeah, pop the Dystopia. He let that go through. I'm going to Drytron Nova here. We don't even have to deal with this. We actually... This is so free. Really wonder sometimes why people play on the ladder with these weird, with these decks. Because, and he's a Japanese player. We can tell by his title. His username. He knows what Maxx C does. He plays with it every time he goes to an IRL Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. He should not have taken the Maxx C challenge. So, Benten here. Summoning the Alpha. Alpha will search us. Ritual monster. We're going to grab the Draconids here. Then Benten will add us a Light Fairy monster. We're going to add the Natasha. Reason being, we have full combo. So, we're going to Gamma here, sending the Alpha. And he scoops. Shouldn't have taken the Maxx C challenge. You hurt yourself. And I'm going to call it at that, guys. So, I'm going to recap. How did we do tonight? We went 8-1, losing only to Eldritch. And if you want to watch that replay, is the second to last duel. I can put a timestamp as well. So, that's where we started tonight against Cayenne Ray. Win, 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 win. So, 7 wins in a row. This was a practice. This is just a start. Wanted to see if we started at gold, which we did because of the reset. And then, boom, we just won our last one of the night. We played 9 games tonight with Drytron. We went 8-1 in gold. It doesn't speak a lot because the players we were playing against were playing some weird stuff, right? So if we look at our opponent's last deck, it's a really standard hero list. Although I would not be playing the D-Force. That's not standard. 1 Maxx C is less than optimal. The 1 Nibiru is less than optimal. And main decking the Feather Duster is less than optimal. Otherwise, it has the bare bones of a typical hero list. Minus the Dark Fusion. He should be playing a Dusted Gold. He should be playing Mali, which he's not, which means he probably didn't invest his gems wisely. Or his dust. But, I'm going to recap. Alright? So why do we like the Drytron deck? Well, it has a ton of consistency. The deck does it all. This is the list. So, off the bat, we're playing 2 Eva. Eva is a consistency booster. It gets us the negates, and it gets us the play starters. It gets us the Diviner, it gets us the Orange Light. That's all it does in the deck. And in a pinch, like you saw in some of the games, it will be another Mubeta Fafnir material. Then, for the actual Drytron package, we're going to be playing 10 main deck Drytron monsters. We'll be playing 3 Alpha Thuban. Alpha Thuban is the best Drytron main deck monster because it, on effect resolution, will add a ritual monster from deck to your hand. In this case, we're going to prioritize Benten 9 times out of 10. We're then going to play Gamma at 2. Reason being, 3 Gamma is a little bricky because it can't summon itself. So, Gamma, tribute a Drytron or a ritual monster from your hand or field. Special summon itself another Drytron from the graveyard. Really good to extend further. It's also really good for game ending because you get another monster out of it. Zeta, similar to Alpha Thuban, will tribute a Drytron or a ritual monster from hand or field, special summon itself, and get you the ritual spell. And then Delta, you play as either a 1 or 2 of, depending on what you're feeling. Delta, same effect as Alpha Thuban, except you have to reveal a ritual spell or a ritual monster and you draw a card. So it's really good to deck thin and draw into the cards you need because this deck does a great job at deck thinning. What do I mean by deck thinning? It means removing cards that it means using cards that search other cards in the deck continuously. So Benten searches other Light Fairy monsters, so you're just continuously getting Light Fairy monsters. Benten can search a Benten, which can search another Benten, which then can search your Natasha, your Idaten, your Herald of Ultimateness, your Eva, your Diviner, or your Herald of Orange Light. So Benten is really good at deck thinning. Okay? Then we play the 3 Herald of Orange Light. Reason being, we already talked about it. You can search it 5 different ways. How do you search it 5 different ways? Well, the Benten, right? And then the Eva. So those are 5 cards that search the Herald of Orange Light. We then play 3 Maxx C because if Maxx C, again, the logic is if Maxx C is available to be played, you have to play it. Doesn't matter what number Maxx C is at. If it's at 3, if it's at 2, if it's at 1, you have to play Maxx C regardless. It is an absolute blowout if you draw it and you resolve it, and it's never dead. I want to specify that right now. It is never really dead. Because even versus the Eldritch deck, you will get 1 to 2 draws potentially off of it. Okay? Diviner, again, is a combo starter. Normal summon Diviner, you then send a fairy monster from your deck or extra deck. So, In some cases, that can be Eva. Some cases, that can be the ritual monster you need. Or, in most cases, you're going to be sending the Herald of Arc Light, which will, upon hitting graveyard, add a ritual monster or ritual spell from deck to your hand. Entis is really good going second in that same vein, and that Diviner will normal summon, send the Entis, and then on hitting the graveyard, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. So if your opponent on the summon of Diviner flips up a Floodgate, and you know, hey, I can play through this if I send the Entis, you're going to send the Entis, pop the Floodgate. So against the Drytron deck, had he done it sooner, and it wasn't a guessing game, probably would have sent the Entis to pop the summon limit. It really wouldn't have made a difference, though, because we played into a Solemn Judgment and a Solemn Strike, which would have killed our turn anyway, which was unfortunate. So, play the 2 Ash Blossom. You can play this at 3 if you drop the ritual spell down to 1. Or what you can do is you can find all their alternatives to cut. You don't necessarily have to play the Natasha. You also don't necessarily have to play the Idaten. But in the TCG, this is the right play because you can continue to recycle your ritual spells. You can resolve the ritual spell up to 4 times if you use the, up to 3 times if you use the Idaten. Or if you already had both in hand and you have access to the Idaten, you can resolve it up to 4 times. So, there's a lot you can do with the Idaten and the Natasha. The Natasha going second breaks your opponent's board apart because you're banishing a Cyber Angel from the graveyard to special summon it. If it was legally summoned first of all, then you take control of it. So, what you do is you summon Natasha, you link it off. Use the Natasha effect, banish the Benten from the graveyard, special summon, while simultaneously taking a monster your opponent controls, you link it off again. So that lets you link climb into stuff like Nightmare Phoenix, into IP Masquerena, into Nightmare Unicorn, into Boral Sword, and then ultimately into Access Code Talker, which is a game ender. Both the Boral Sword and the Access Code Talker are game enders. They put your opponent in lethal range, if not outright lethal. And you play the Herald of Ultimateness because it's the go-to end board. The Herald of Ultimateness, you know, after all the combos that you saw during this, right? Gains degrees of interaction because of the number of fairy monsters we're ending our turns with in hand. So, as you saw, at one point we had 6 degrees of interaction because we had 3 orange light, 2 diviner, and an Eva in hand. Or we had 3 orange light, 2 diviner, a Natasha, and an Idaten in hand, right? It's incredibly powerful so long as you can just send a fairy monster from your hand to graveyard to negate anything. Except for a counter trap. I want to specify that. Except for a counter trap or a card like Forbidden Droplet that cannot be responded to. Then we play the 1 Draconids. Reason being, again, this is another game ender, and this is a main deck game ender. So in the event that your opponent has something that prevents you from summoning from the extra deck, you've got Draconids as a game ender. It's a 4,000 attack and defense monster. And because the Drytrons play with attack values instead of levels, it's super easy to summon because all you need is 2 Drytron monsters. So, what can it do? It can attack all special summon monsters your opponent controls once each. And during your opponent's turn, you can also banish monster cards from your graveyard in intervals of 2 or 4,000 to then target face-up cards your opponent controls for every 2,000 attack you banished and send them to the graveyard. So, it's really good to clear boards during your opponent's turn. Your opponent starts doing a little bit too much. Against the Eldritch deck, this would have been really useful because we could have sent all the face-up cards that he had. Right? So, in a way, this is spell and trap removal. In a way, this is clear a pesky monster that your opponent has removal. And then you play Cyber Emergency because it searches all of your Drytron monsters. It's a consistency booster. Any light machine monster that cannot be normal summoned or set, or if it's a Cyber Dragon monster, can be added from your deck to your hand. We don't play any Cyber Dragons because what we really care about is that first part of the sentence. Add 1 light machine monster that cannot be normal summoned or set. All of the Drytron monsters cannot be normal summoned or set. It is the first line of text on these cards. So, Cyber Emergency searches everything in this deck that has Drytron in its name, in theory. Okay? Then we play Preparation of Rites. It'll add a level 7 or lower ritual monster, and then if we have a ritual spell in graveyard, we can add it to our hand. So, what does that get us? That gets us all of the Cyber Angel monsters, and in the event that we have a Meteonis Drytron in graveyard, we get it back for free. We then play Drytron Nova. Drytron Nova will special summon a Drytron from the deck, but destroy it during the end phase, and we can only do it once, and then we cannot special summon monsters except monsters that can't be normal summoned or set for the rest of the turn. Well, that's fine, because everything in this deck can only be special summoned. Except, it cannot be, we're not going to special summon anything that can't be normal summoned or set, right? So, we're never gonna special summon the Diviner. We're never gonna special summon the Maxx C. We're never gonna special summon the Herald of Orange Light, the Ash Blossom, or the Eva. Those are only going to be cards that are ever normal summoned, because the ritual monsters can inherently only be special summoned, and the Drytrons can inherently only be special summoned. So that restriction doesn't really hurt us. And then it's never going to be destroyed during the end phase, because you're just going to link it off or link Karibo immediately, so that you can then use the effect in graveyard to gain card advantage on your opponent. We then play 2 Ritual Spell, and I explained this earlier. I play 2 Ritual Spell because there's a lot of Eldritch on the ladder. Eldritch has the inherent ability to be able to banish cards from the graveyard without targeting. So you run the risk of losing all of your ritual plays in the event that one ritual spell gets banished. And the Lyrilusc Tri-Brigade deck is also still around, and that does a lot of banishing as well, because they can search the DD Crow. So I like having 2 as a fallback. In case one gets banished, it happens. And then we're playing the 2 Called by the Grave, because not only is it really good hand trap hate, but in a mirror match, it kills. You shut off your opponent's entire plays. You also sort of inhibit your own, but you would also likely have a full board by then. And then in some matchups, it's killer. Versus the Shaddoll Invoke deck, it's killer. Versus the Eldritch deck, it can be killer if you banish the Golden Lords. There's a lot of reasonable applications for this card. Not only against hand traps, but against decks in the meta. I already explained what Elder Entity Entis does. I already explained what the Herald of Arc Light does. So we're going to get into the rest of the extra deck. We play the Lyrilusc Assembled Nightingale because all you need is 2+ level 1 monsters. Your go-to combo pieces here are all level 1 monsters. So this is super easy to summon. It can attack directly equal to the number of material it has. And then it inflicts some damage. But what this card is really good for is making Zeus. And then we play the Downerd Magician to give it an extra material. So likely our Zeus, most of the time, is going to have 2 activations, because it's going to have 4 materials total. The 2 monsters you use this, the 2+ monsters you use to summon the Assembled Nightingale. Give the Assembled Nightingale 2 material. Then you're going to overlay into the Downerd Magician, giving the Downerd Magician 3 material. And then you overlay into the Zeus on top of the Downerd Magician, which would have 4 material, which means Zeus can activate twice. You play the Beta Fafnir because it is the in-archetype combo, and combo allower as well, just like the Beatrice can be and the Diviner can be. So what does it do? On special summon, on Exceed summon, you Foolish Burial any Drytron card. In a pinch, that gets you any Drytron main deck monster that you need. It can also send the Ritual Spell. I want to specify that. It can send the Ritual Spell, which can then be added back to hand by having the attack of the Beta Fafnir. In a pinch, that's really good in the event that you can't get access to it off the Diviner or the Zeta. And then it also has the insane effect that you can detach material as cost to Ritual Summon instead of sending from the hand or field. So, and that plays around the attack modulation that the Ritual Spell may have as well. So even if it has 1,000 attack, you can still detach, because what's being detached is having 2,000 attack. So it's really, really crazy for the deck. They did so much to make this deck meta, and it clearly shows because they had to hit it a couple times in both the TCG and the OCG. Then we play Beatrice because, again, that primary combo with Diviner is going to send a level 4 to make it level 6, and then you're going to summon either the Benten or the Idaten at some point to overlay into the Beatrice, which will then either send the Eva both during your turn or your opponent's turn to gain more cards to send off the Herald of Ultimateness, or, again, in a pinch, as you had seen, to send a Drytron monster to continue your plays. We talked about the Link Rebo. The Link Rebo is really good because it is useful for the Drytron Nova combo. It also is really good in the event that you just want to protect what you have. Sometimes you end with kind of low-level, low-attack monsters like the IP Masquerena. And that's okay because the Link Rebo contributes itself to make a monster's attack 0 during your opponent's turn. Or you can just link it off with the Masquerena into the Nightmare and Unicorn. Nightmare Phoenix is really good because it clears back row. It's a critical card, I think, in most decks right now. This deck doesn't mind discarding because all of the Drytron monsters will activate in graveyard so long as you can discard a Drytron or a ritual. So long as you contribute a Drytron or a ritual monster from hand or field. So the Nightmare Phoenix discard doesn't really come up a ton in terms of hurting you. Again, simple, target a spell or trap card your opponent goes, destroy it. Really good for clearing floodgates and pesky back row. IP Masquerena is a end board piece. Reason being, you're going to summon this so that you can then give yourself access to Nightmare Unicorn. Another line of play you can take if you want to mix up the extra deck, right, is if you want to, you can cut the Downerd Magician, or you can cut either the Access Code or the Boral Sword and play an Appaloosa, so then you can IP Masquerena into Appaloosa, giving you more monster negates. I don't think it's necessary if you're going to play the Herald of Ultimateness, but it does come up sometimes in playtesting, as you may find. So, something to consider. It's a flex spot depending on how many game enders you want to play. We played 2 for the sake of it because I like both of these options. Nightmare Unicorn on Link Summon will discard a card, target a card on the field, shuffle it back into the deck. This is really good to go into off the IP Masquerena, and then it also can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So you discard, and then in the event that you can co-link these two, you'll draw 2 cards during your draw phase. Be really strong. Nightmare Unicorn is a really good generic back row removal, pesky monster removal. Nightmare Unicorn does a lot. And then you play Boral Sword as a game ender. It can attack twice, and it also gains and halves the attack of an opponent's monster that battles once per turn. So the Boral Sword can often go to 4,500 or higher, while also having the opponent's monster. So as you saw in the replay, right, we attacked into an Archfiend Abyss. It happened to be under the effect of Red Rain, so only the Boral Sword engaged attack. The Archfiend Abyss did not have its attack halved, but the Boral Sword Dragon went up to 4,600, swung over for 14. Then we swung directly with the Draconids for 4,000 directly. And then the Boral Sword used its effect, which cannot be responded to, switched the Draconids into defense, and swung directly for 4,600, which was more than exact lethal. Boral Sword is a crazy card. It also cannot be destroyed by battle, so it gets through cards like Avermax super easily, which you may see because Mech Knight is a popular rogue deck on the ladder. Avermax is also just a pretty good generic Link monster that you may see. So Boral Sword does not lose to its own Boral Sword. It also clears an Access Code Talker. Boral Sword does a lot. It's a big monster. It swings for a lot. It can also sometimes end an opponent's turn by putting stuff in defense. Sometimes that does come up, and your opponent can't respond to it. Really cool. And then Access Code Talker, as you see in a lot of my replays, I play it in almost every deck I play on my YouTube. This card is crazy because your opponent cannot respond to its effect if it is successfully summoned. It's almost always going to go to at least 4,300 or 5,300 because you're either going to send a Link 2 or a Link 3 for the summon of the Access Code. This deck doesn't have a ton of different attributes to banish. You're really only going to ever have 2. It's going to be light, and it's going to be dark, and it's going to be fire. But often the 2 is all you need because you're still going to be swinging with 5,300 monster. And that, guys, is this Drytron list. All right, so I'm going to post the replays to YouTube. You're going to have them tomorrow morning to follow. My YouTube you can find on my Twitch channel, so feel free to subscribe. Right now, I've got a couple combo videos and tutorial videos for the Tri-Brigade Luceric deck, as well as the Sky Striker deck. So if those are decks you're interested in, highly recommend you check them out. If not, I'm going to be streaming throughout the week, sometime around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to about 11:30 at night, most nights. And hope to see you guys around. Also, again, check out the YouTube channel if you want to learn more about some of these other decks. And watch these videos before you go and commit your dust and your gems to building these decks. Because it may not be the playstyle you thought it was. It may not be something you're interested in. Or you may find your gems and your dust are better spent on other decks that fit what you're looking for in Master Duel. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. Hope you enjoyed the video.